Hi everybody. Today we have with us our head of mobility, Santosh Madyalkar. Hi Santosh.
Hi Venkat.
Today we're going to be discussing about the various different mobile development approaches we have and the pros and cons of each and give our customers or the viewers more clarity on which mobile development approach they can decide to go with. So to start with, Santosh, could you tell us the various different mobile development approaches we have?
Yeah, that's a fundamental question. We started off with native development for each of these platforms, be it Android, iOS, and Windows. Now, there's a lot of new technologies that have come in up, which allows you to now to do a hybrid. So there are various platforms now available, be it a native way of doing things, or there's a hybrid approach, there's a cross-platform approach. So based on the appropriate need, we can go with any of these approaches. So there is no one solution that fits for everything.
So moving on, how do we decide or determine which mobile development approach is the best to go with in a particular scenario?
Right. So there are various parameters that we consider before we decide which approach to take. These parameters could be what type of interactions are required for the consumers who are using this mobile app. Now, how much of rich UI that we want to really develop it. Is there any device specific animations that you want to add in? Is code maintainability a major factor? Should there be a single code base? Is there a lot of interactions with enterprise systems like the ERPs, CRM, logistics, warehouse, order management systems, etc.? Is cost a major consideration? Is security a major consideration? Or is the app more of viewing the data and take some actions on that? So it's more of a functional rather than being a consumer facing app like a Jazzy app. So there are various parameters that we consider before we decide whether we should go with a native, a hybrid, or a cross-platform. Say it's a native application, then and if it is about a lot of UIs, very rich interface that needs to be created, and we are targeting a specific platform or an operating system, then native is the way to go. If it is about code maintainability, that being the factor, the client insists that there has to be a single code base because it is going to help them to maintain a single code base, then there is a hybrid way of doing it. There are mobile apps wherein it needs a lot of interactions or integrations with the enterprise systems. So there are these cross-platform frameworks available like IBM's Worklight, you have Koni's of the world, which comes up with out-of-the-box connectors with a lot of these systems. So it becomes easier to develop functionalities using that. Having said that, if there are APIs with those enterprise apps available, we can still use the hybrid app to develop such enterprisey mobile apps. So there is no one solution, as I mentioned earlier, depending upon the parameters, and we discuss with the clients and which are those imperative, then we decide and recommend the approach.
You mentioned earlier about the various development approaches, native,
right,
and hybrid app development. So could we talk about the pros and the cons of each development approach?
Right. So that's a very good question. Now, when we talk about native, there are inherent advantages because native apps really work on the device OS levels. So which means that you have access to a lot of device features. You can actually write programs, use those SDKs and leverage those device capabilities, interactions, make it very rich. And because it works directly on the device OS, they also perform better, they're faster compared to the hybrid applications. A lot of documentation support forums for the developers also, which actually adds on to it. However, the cost of developing native applications is high because you need a development for each of the platforms. It's like a Java for an Android, you have Objective-C or a Swift for your iOS, and this Microsoft.NET for your Windows application. So you need specialized skill set, skilled resources to create these specific native applications, right? But on a contrary, when you say a phone gap, that works well if there is a functional dependent, not so heavy usage of device specific features, right? Something like syncing with calendars and etc., or creating really device specific animations. Though there are frameworks that are available that creates real or near real native look and feel like Ionic, but it doesn't actually give you the real native. But the cost of development is less, right? That's one. The code maintainability is the paramount. Then you can actually use skill sets which is like a web and then get that done. So you see those inherent advantages going with native, and there are certain advantages going with the phone get approach.
So I think these inputs will really be useful to our viewers in selecting or deciding whether to go with the native approach or the hybrid or the cross-platform approach, and they decided to develop a mobile app.
Right.
So thanks so much, Santosh, and we'll see you soon with more such videos. Thanks for watching.